What's up, single player gamers? Welcome back to the Single Player Experience podcast, where we live for immersive stories, solo challenges, and games that don't demand queue up from strangers. Already know what it is. I'm your host, Sebastion Mauldin, and we are back with another episode that's packed from top to bottom. So, today we're going to be spotlighting a game that I got hooked on absolutely fast. A little indie game you may have not heard of it. You may or may not have heard of it. It's taken over the world. It's Absalom, and it's a rogue beat 'em up that kind of mixes fantasy. It kind of mixes in the rebellion themes and stylish, badass combat. So I'll tell you about what that looks like in a little bit. We'll dive deep into if this game is for you or not, and then we're gonna talk about some gaming news. This isn't a news channel by nature, but we're gonna be talking about some news that I think speaks, to you, the single player gamer. We're gonna be talking about the Avatar: The Last Airbender game that's coming out. We're gonna be talking about one of the games that I'm actually loving that I'm playing right now. It's Clair Obscur, and we're gonna be talking about a huge milestone that game has experienced recently, and we're going to be talking about Pokemon Legends ZA, the Switch comparisons between the first game and the first console and the second console of the Switch, and kind of how people are feeling about that. So finally, we'll wrap up with a new segment called Indie Radar. Well, we'll break down the new releases from the week, from Game Informer. Shout out to Game Informer's list, and games that you should be watching out for, downloading, and the games you should probably ignore. So, with all that said, let's strap in, do whatever it is you like to do while listening to your favorite podcast, The Single Player Experience, and let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. So, let's dive into it. DJ, cue the intro, man.
Round one, fight.
And that's the bottom line.
His kick is good.
I need a weapon.
You cannot escape.
You forget 1,000 things every day. How about you make sure this is one of them? Here we go.
It's time for the main event.
All right, so let me set the scene for you. I'm sitting here in my gamer cave, doing my usual rotations of Steam's newest releases, checking out Steam Next Fest, kind of twiddling on my phone a little bit, and I see people absolutely screaming across this social media and the internet as a whole that people are talking about, like, oh, we have a new contender for indie game of the year. And I'm like, hold up. I'm the indie king. Like, that's my like nickname out here in these streets. I should know about any hotness that's going on in indie land. So I was just like, if I don't know about it, then it probably ain't popping off like that. But then, I hear a term, and that term kind of got me, it's my kryptonite. The term was called roguelike. And I was like, oh shit, that's my jam. Like, as soon as I hear any term of that's rogueliked, I'm on it. Like, I have to play that as soon as possible. I'm a roguelike sicko. So anyways, I rushed to my PC and, pop in that Steam Deck as well. I boot both of those bad boys up. I download it. And immediately I'm hit with the open cinematics drenched in absolute atmosphere. The lore was popping off. I was immersed into a world. Let me just break down the world, shall we? You see a world where magic has been absolutely banned, where the Sun King Azura rules with a whip and a scepter, and you're a small band of rebels. Stop me if you heard this kind of story before. It's kind of cliche at this point, but I still love these type of stories. You're a small band of rebels. This time you're outlaw mages, and you must fight to reclaim what's stolen. You got to take back the kingdom, y'all. You got to take back the woods, the forest, everything in between. So, all right, first thing that earned my respect is the tone. This game comes out the woodworks. It sets the tone well. It feels like it has this serious mythical tone that really, really pops off. The style, both the art style and the music style, it's like bold, it's crisp, and I love it. Let me give you a quote from the game. It's like, it says, "Death is just another step on your journey." And, for us roguelike sickos, we hear that type of quote all the time. But, like, this game embodies that, like, death is is a theme of reincarnation to, like, absolutely beat down your opposition, who also has, the ability of reincarnation. So it's like, it's seeing how much you're willing to persevere through. And I like that theme of the game. Also, like, the characters here. The game doesn't waste time telling you how great it is. It just throws you in. You learn moves right off the bat in your home base in the opening scenes of the game. It feels smart because it's like it gives you room to breathe in between runs, but like there's always something that you can learn or something you can refine. I like that. So like beat ups were born for that kind of replayability factor of it. From back in the day when you put the coins in the machines and you would just hop on with your homies and you would play the latest like Streets of Rage, or you'd play the TMNT beat 'em ups. You would play like Power Rangers. I was really into the Power Ranger beat 'em up back in the day, but like Marvel had a solid beat 'em up game. Like it was made for that replayability, and Absolem kind of leans into that with the roguelike structure on top of that to kind of like add in a sense of progression on top of the beat 'em up replayability factor. And I love that. I absolutely love that. So what hits me is how well they modernize the combo and the combat commands. So these are the guys, by the way, if you didn't know, Absolem was the same team that made Streets of Rage 4. And they just took all the little lessons that they made from that game and really put it in a modern day setting and in a roguelike atmosphere. And gone are the days of like forward punch, and which gives you that nice little combo. Instead of that, you have like a nice Hades like fight system to where like you have a strong attack, you have a strong attack with like the X button, like a range or a even like quick attack going on with like the Y button, and then you have like your character's special abilities. And so it feels like it's like a mixture between Hades and a beat 'em up game, and I really like that. So I absolutely love this game so far. There's 4 playable characters, by the way, to seal the deal. You got Carl the dwarf. You got Galandria with a sweeping blade. You have Cider, which is kind of like this badass, like cyborg ninja with gadget arms. You have Braum, who's like a frog wizard tossing around magical debris like he's throwing tantrums. Each character feels special. Each of them feels unique. None of them are like clones. It doesn't feel like you're playing a game to where they give you characters and they're just like special, the like skins of one another. Like one of the critiques I have of some beat 'em up games, if like some of them feel samey regardless of who you're playing as. This game ain't like that. Absalom, it feels like every single character has their own style, their own like combat, as far as like the weapons, as far as their skills, as far as like the projectiles that they can wield, and even as far as like the upgrade path. Each one of them feels like they have their own special flavor to it, and I like that. Solemn, I love this game. Like the world kind of evolves from run to run. You see new type of enemies. You see like different stage hazards that are approaching. You have like these environmental shifts that challenge you to adapt and evolve. And it really keeps the game from feeling samey and stale. Even if you are going on the same runs over and over again, each run in itself feels different. And that's something I love about roguelikes, but I think that Absalom and good roguelikes have mastered this ability to like make each run feel fresh, regardless of you doing a similar loop over and over again. And I've like that's to me is what takes like the smaller, lesser roguelikes and differentiates them from like the games like this, which are like the cream of the crop, where you don't feel that tedious feeling instantly, like over and over again. It feels fresh all the time. And I love that. So I'm solemn. I fell in love fast. I wasn't supposed to. I told myself, just try it out. It's a beat 'em up game. The streets are talking. Like this isn't a game that's naturally for me. I'm not a beat 'em up person. I played them back in the day. That's not usually my gaming diet now. But as you know, I'm a roguelike sicko. Like anytime I hear that term, I'm pretty much going to check out a game that has that terminology and genre attached to the game. So like I knew for some reason I knew that I was going to try it out. I didn't expect to love it like I did. I poured hours after hours into it. I find myself wanting to grind, die, and come back stronger, which, is a telltale sign of a good roguelike game. It has me saying the thing that I say for every single game in the roguelike genre. One more turn. One more turn. Okay, one more turn and I'm done. Okay, okay, okay. I mean it this time. One more turn and I'll turn it off. Absalom has me doing that, just like all the great games in this genre has and have made me do that in the past. So I think this is a rare indie that punches above its weight in the sense that it it stands out in a year that is filled with good ass indie games. You got Hades, you had Silk Song. Oh my gosh, this game is right amongst those. I love it. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. If you're a gamer that's into beat 'em ups, if you're a gamer that loves roguelikes, if you like pretty ass art styles, if you like games that actually have great storytelling, art, games that have this really cool, really dynamic and dynastic voice acting on top of all those factors that I named, then you should definitely check out Absalom. This game is absolutely amazing. If you love Hades, if you love Streets of Rage, or if you like games with heart and bones, you definitely need this one in your life. Go check it out, Absalom.
Mission complete.
All right, so we're going to switch gears here and talk about the biggest headlines buzzing around in the single player scene. Now, this game that I'm talking about first isn't quite a single player game. You can probably play it solo, but a lot of people are going to be playing this mostly as a multiplayer experience. But I'm looking forward to it mostly to see how I'm going to put them hands on the computer. I'm a solo gamer, so I'm probably not going to play this very much with the crew. That said, I'm excited because Avatar is getting a game, and it looks like it's actually a legit good game this time around. Most Avatar games, if you're a fan of the franchise, you already know most of the games around the franchise have been absolute poochies. With that said, by the way, when I say Avatar, I mean the good Avatar. I don't mean James Cameron's Blue People Avatar. I mean, if you already know Avatar: The Last Airbender, the great Avatar, the great IP around the Avatar name. So, Avatar Legends. Let's talk about it. Avatar Legends is a fighting game, and it's big news for Avatar fans. Nickelodeon announced this game, Avatar Legends, in yes, you got Aang, you got Zuko, you got Katara, you got Toph, you got my girl Kara, which by the way, I'm a Avatar The Last Airbender fan through and through, but I also liked The Legend of Korra. So don't at me. I'm one of those people who likes it. I know it had its problems. Specifically, I think the villains and the way that they appear and the way that the story, I think kind of to me, I think her enemies and the people she fought probably are in the wrong order. I think if you fix the order, that series is damn good. But that's not what we got. Anyways, I'm kind of off on a tangent here. Avatar Legends. So this is an all new fighting game, and it's all in with a hand drawn 2D combat style. It's kind of blends bending meets button mashing in a really cool way. I think the visuals of this game looks crisp in a way a lot of the other Avatar games didn't. This game sort of reminds me of those webtoon games people used to play on Nickelodeon and CartoonNetwork.com. But for some reason, that is really working for me in a way. Maybe I'm nostalgic for those type of games, but this sort of feels like those webtoon games, but with a modern day gameplay aesthetic as far as modern day controls. And I'm all down for that. Again, the visuals look crisp and the announcement teased elemental combos, the Avatar state mechanics, and classic matchups. We're also getting chibi anime short series on YouTube to correspond with the new game. It's sort of like a reimagining of the classic scenes and teasing new story arcs for different characters. All this sounds great if you're a fan of the Avatar series. So on top of that, we're getting a sequel to the core era, Avatar 7 Havens, and that's also in the works. I'm excited for that. I actually, again, like The Legend of Korra, but anyways, The Avatar universe is back in a big way and stronger than ever, and I'm so excited. Let me know in the comments what you think. Are you excited about all this Avatar news? Are you going to be playing Avatar Legends, the fighting game? Let me know. All right, so everybody, let's jump into story number 2. We're going to be talking about Clair Obscur Expedition 33, the game that took over the world earlier this year. So, first off, I want to give just a small update. I've been playing this game. I haven't talked about it on the show yet because I've been slowly working my way through the game. Where I'm at, I think I'm getting closer to the halfway point. I know, like, I don't know what the big spoiler as far as like the halfway point is, but rumors and all that kind of stuff have told me that there's a big twist in the middle of the game, and when you hit that big twist, you'll absolutely know. I haven't quite got to the big twist yet, so I think I'm still in the early half. I'm loving the game. I think this is absolutely deserves to be one of the front runners of game of the year. I plan on hopefully mowing this game down before the month is over. But with all that said, let's get to the actual news story segment. Huge congratulations. Absolutely massive congratulations and shout out to the team behind Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This RPG just surpassed 5 million copies sold. To celebrate, Sandfall Interactive is launching a absolutely free content update. This update includes brand new environments, late game boss battles, and more, which includes, by the way, UI and localization enhancements in multiple languages. So shout out to y'all. Like, absolutely shout out to Sandfall Interactive for 5 million copies. So shout out to you people for supporting an indie game that is absolutely punching well above its weight. It delivers in performance and sound design, music, quality. I think this game absolutely slaps. Again, I haven't finished it, so I can't say it sticks the landing yet. Not from my personal experience, but from everything I heard about, like, the later parts of the game only gets better as it goes along. So I'll let you know whenever I finish the game and actually can give you my whole thoughts on it. But regardless, it's always inspiring to see a single player RPG not only survive, but thrive out here in these mean streets. So if you haven't given it a shot yet, I definitely think you should, especially with this update. This feels like the perfect jumping in point for Expedition 33. I would say if you like JRPG games, if you like turn-based RPG games, if you like games that feel like I would say this game kind of mirrors a little bit of Final Fantasy VII remakes, like real-time elements as well. So like you have some real-time quick time event elements mixed in with a really good turn-based combat system. So it kind of fuses like Final Fantasy with Persona in a way that I think is amazing. So if all that sounds great to you, you should definitely check out Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and also shout out to Sandfall Interactive for $5 million or 5 million copies sold on the game. Shout out to y'all. Y'all are absolutely killing it. All right, so let's talk about the next news story. Pokemon Legends ZA. We're going to be talking about the review roundup and the kind of minor tech debate that's going on in the internet. So first off, let's talk about a little bit about that review round or the big news about the reviews. So oddly enough, a lot of people complained about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, how it ran like old syrup at IHOP, like absolutely terrible performance for the first Switch console. Like I played it myself. I think the game was absolutely fun. I enjoyed my time with Violet. But I admit, like, the performance issues wore on me hard. With all that said, though, a lot of people were highly anticipating Pokemon Legends ZA, especially those people who liked Pokemon Legends Arceus. I wasn't one of those people. I like the mainline games a lot more than I like these spinoffs, at least so far, with Arceus being the case. Didn't like Arceus, but I digress. Critics, though, seem like they're kind of digging Pokemon Legends ZA in a surprising turn of events. Yeah, I was really surprised with kind of how much people are digging it, because like, it's Pokemon. I think Pokemon normally like reviews pretty positively here. Like I don't remember the last Pokemon game that scored below its 70, so I wasn't expecting this game to just be like in the mid tiers territory, but like it's kind of it kind of surprises me how varied some of the reviews are. So like Metro, for instance, gave Pokemon Legends ZA a 7 out of 10. Eurogamer, shout out to the folks at Eurogamer, gave Pokemon Legends ZA a 3 out of 5. Shack News gave Pokemon Legends ZA 9 out of 10. Games Radar gave the game a 4 out of 5, and Game Reactor gave the game a 7 out of 10. So again, not bad reviews by any metric, but it seems like a lot of reviewers are kind of like a little more on the it's good, not super great territory, if you know what I mean. As always, reviews are subjective to the people who are absolutely reviewing it, but I wonder if this is going to be what most people think about the game whenever, the game actually launches. As of this recording, when this episode goes live, a lot of the listeners will be actually be hands on with Pokemon Legends ZA. So you'll have to let me know what you think if the reviews kind of reflect it on Metacritic, both though. So like getting together like a collective here. Let's see what people thought about it on Metacritic here. Pokemon Legends ZA's Metacritic score. I'm gonna pull that up. On Metacritic right now, Pokemon's Legends ZA is sitting at a generally favorable score with an 80. So, and that's based on 49 critic reviews. User reviews, of course, TBD because the game isn't out yet as of this recording. Dextero gave this game a 60 out of 100. The little snippet right here says Pokemon Legends ZA delivers fast, polished battles in what is this? Limio City, but limited exploration and shallow side content hold it back from being truly great. So that's a snippet from Dextero. Eurogamer Portugal says that the game wins you over with its simple yet mystery-filled narrative, open world design, and easy Pokemon management, but it's dynamism of the new real-time combat that kept me playing long after the credits rolled. It's a very fun and easy to play game, which suffers from poor graphics quality. That didn't surprise me at all. I think, based on what we've seen with Pokemon Legends Arceus and Pokemon Violet, Scarlet and Violet, didn't nobody say like good shit about those graphics. If you're looking at the Pokemon games lately, you're not looking at those games and being like, this game is stealing the show with like its graphics, with its visuals and everything like that. It's letting you live like the Pokemon fantasy that a lot of us fans have lived when we were watching the shows, the Pokemon anime back in the day with Ash Ketchum and Pikachu. So I'm like, it's getting closer to that, I believe. But yeah, if you're looking for like a visual showcase, you're looking at the wrong damn series. That ain't Pokemon. Now, with all that said, Game Cult. I haven't heard of the outlet yet, but shout out to them. They gave this game a 60 out of 100. And their little snippet says, while the Pokemon Legends series may at first seem eager to break free from the limitations of the mainline episodes, it falls short of the long-awaited reinvention fans have been hoping for. ZA shows plenty of good ideas and offers the most engaging battle system the franchise has seen in a long time, but it struggles to make up for its internal shortcomings. Dull and underwhelming visuals for the modern era, and still overly childish narrative and glaring lack of personality and gameplay inconsistencies that gradually erode the experience over time. So yeah, that's what Game Cult thought of it with a 60 out of 100. But overall, like we're seeing, there's the Six Axis gave it 100 out of 100. Vooks, haven't heard of that outlet, but shout out to them. They gave it a 90. Level Up 85. IGN Spain 80. CG Magazine 80. Eurogamers, like I said earlier, 60. So looks like it got a pretty good score. Pretty good, good to great Pokemon game. If you are looking forward to this game, I think the reviews kind of gave you the vibe of basically all the other Pokemon games that have come out lately. You're getting a good game. Don't look for any of these games to be a game of the year contender. With that said, though, are you looking forward to Pokemon ZA? Let me know in the comments below what you think. Okay, so really quick, I do want to hit on another story with Pokemon Legends ZA. Like the hardware. Um, a lot of people, when the Switch 2 was announced, were excited about that upgrade to the hardware because a lot of the older games, especially Pokemon with Pokemon Violet and Pokemon Scarlet, showed that the Switch One wasn't just up to snuff with modern Switch games. Some Switch games ran fine. A lot of people wanted an upgrade though. They were hungry to get games that were probably running closer to 60 FPS that didn't have long ass loading times that actually showed good, at least better visuals with a higher performance quality as well. So one of the news stories that kind of intrigued me about Pokemon ZA, was a comparison that a lot of early people who got hands on with the game made with the game's performance on Switch 1, because this game is still available for Switch 1, by the way, if you didn't know, and Switch 2. So it revealed something that I think was startling a little bit. So like right here in the video that you're watching, the guy's doing a comparison between the frame rates between the Switch 1's frame rate and the Switch 2 frame rate. Switch 1's capped off 30 FPS. That's just the nature of the beast there. You kind of can expect that. The hardware is old as dirt at this point. There are some kids who are getting ready getting ready to graduate middle school, and since the Switch 1 has been released. Now, with all that said, the Switch 2, though, higher frame rate, 60 FPS. The console runs well at 60 FPS more consistently. Its textures, draw distance, and all that kind of stuff are marginally better on the Switch 2. So that's a great thing, right? But the visuals and gameplay on the original Switch actually hold up really well. A lot of people are, attesting that this game performs a lot better than Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and even Arceus on the baseline Switch. For the most part, a lot of people said the most notable distance and the only real difference between the Switch 1 variation of the game and the Switch 2 variation is that there is a $10 upgrade, first of all, and that basically gets you a 60 FPS version of the game. As you can see, there's a side by side comparison. Let me just stop right here because I think I want to focus on this real quick. So, right there, you're seeing a side by side comparison between the Switch 1 version of the game on the left side and the Switch 2 version of the game. I think the Switch 2 version of the game looks a little more detailed, a little more and I can see things off into the distance. Again, the draw distance is a little bit better. But as I'm looking here at the comparisons, I don't think the comparisons are I don't see $10 better, for if I'm being honest. Like this to me seems like it could have been a free upgrade for Nintendo, that if you just had the baseline game of Pokemon ZA and you have a Switch 2, it just runs better. I don't feel like there needed to be a $10 upgrade attached to all this. But again, I haven't played the game hands on. I'm just going off of the videos and the news of people who have gone hands on with it. They said the difference between the two versions is very marginal at best. So, with all that said, I take it with a grain of salt until you get hands on with it. Maybe do your own comparison. Maybe you yourself have to decide if like the $10 upgrade is worth it to you. With all that said, I'm not paying $10 extra for a game that I think probably should just perform better on the new hardware, But that's just me. I vote my wallet on these things. Let me know what you're gonna do. Do you feel like it was weird for like Nintendo to charge a $10 upgrade just for 60 FPS? Let me know in the comments. All right, everybody, your boy scoured the internet, and it is time for one of our new segments of the show, the Indie Radar, aka the new releases for the week. So, the Indie Radar, the pick of the week. We like to shine on the newest releases from the indie games and like just the single player games that I think you should know about. So, you already know Pokemon Legends ZA is coming out this week. I need to shine a spotlight on it. Y'all Pokemon sickos are just gonna flood the eShop and actually buy that game and support it. I'm gonna spotlight some games that you don't necessarily either you don't know about, or maybe like for the vast majority of the mainstream have kind of gone under the radar. So with all that said, here's what's dropping. Let me give you the hotness. So first off, we got Undisputed Letters from the Past. I'm gonna read my notes real quick. This game's coming out on PC October 13th, 2025. It is an atmospheric exploration game built around memory, lost letters, and ghostly echoes. Expect haunting puzzles and slow pacing. So, if you're the type of gamer that likes story-based games, that likes puzzle games, that likes good indie experiences, then I think you should definitely check out Undisputed Letters from the Past. Now, let's keep it pushing, everybody. Let's get to the second game here. You know, Keeper, if you didn't know, this is from the same studio that put out Psychonauts 1 and 2. So if you like Psychonauts 1 and 2 and you're looking forward to seeing that studio's next big game, Keeper is coming out October 17th, 2025 for PlayStation 5, Xbox, PC, and the game looks a lot different than Psychonauts. If you haven't seen the trailer, it's playing right now in the B-roll. Let me give you just the general vibes, like in the description of the game. So, you're playing as this lighthouse, and this lighthouse seems like you are just trying to make your way to a specific goal. I wonder what that goal is going to be. I don't know what the story is going to tell, but reading the excerpt from the Steam description is here's kind of what they're talking about with the game. They're saying Keeper, this one blends survival, base defense, and resource management. Build your domain while defending against wave of enemies. So a lot different than Psychonauts 2. And, Psychonauts, it seems like that studio really went hard on trying something different, on giving us a single player experience that looks like it is still hitting hard with its atmospheric environments, but also giving us it looks like a little bit more blended to that survival, the base description, the resource management, and still got the platforming elements that they're known for with Psychonauts. So it seems like they're going to be trying something different here with Keeper, but also staying true to their roots as a studio. I'm looking forward to the game. I know that this game is coming out on Xbox Game Pass as well as Xbox PC, the Series X and X. Is coming on Steam and PS5. I think this game has the potential to be a great 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 experience. Double Fine does not miss usually. So I'm like, they usually put out very quality experiences and very good games. I trust Tim Schafer and the Double Fine team. They're going to deliver on this game. Definitely check out Keeper when it comes out October 17th. With that said, let's get to the last game that I want y'all to know about. It is called Lumio 2. So I'm gonna read out the description for Lumio 2. Lumio 2 is a nostalgic throwback with fresh mechanics. Now, this is a sequel to a cult classic. You can expect little puzzles, charming environments, and soothing gameplay loops. If you look at the B-roll, it looks like Lumio 2 is just full of like these mini games, and you're like mini games and levels, and nothing that you do in the game feels like it's repeating itself. It feels like as elements of so many different genres. You have platforming elements. I saw like it looks like you had some puzzle elements as well. I saw things that kind of reminded me of Little Big Planet and Mario. Some that kind of reminded me of Wario. So it looks like it's building like all these cool like different ideas and sort of throwing them against the wall and giving you a little taste of high quality goodness in a whole bunch of different types of areas and a whole bunch of different types of mini games. I'm excited for Lumio 2. I don't normally gravitate to this sort of game. I usually gravitate to more story centric games, but I'm excited to check it out. By the way, multiple platforms is coming for Nintendo Switch, PS5, and Steam. It's coming again October 17th. So this week, expect 3 bangers. You got Undisputed Letters from the Past, you have Keeper and Lumio 2. One of those is going to catch your attention. Definitely check those out if you're not too busy trying to catch them all. All right, everybody. I feel like that's going to be a wrap for today's episode of the Single Player Experience podcast. And damn, that shit was a meaty episode. Thank y'all for staying with me throughout all that. I feel like we broke down so much in this episode. We talked about Absalom, which is a game that took me by surprise by making me care about a beat 'em up game in 2025, which is something I normally don't gravitate to. And I love the game. Like, I think it's definitely a really cool indie game that you should check out. Even if you only go check out the trailer, definitely go do so. Like, I think this game is worthy of you just checking it out and seeing if it's for you. Like, if you're a Steam user, there's a demo available. I think there might be a demo available on the other platforms, like on the Switch and Xbox. If there is, definitely go check it out. See if this game's for you. Oh, and it's also co-op. I didn't say that because this is a single player experience. I normally don't talk about co-op experiences and multiplayer experiences, but I digress. This is also like a couch co-op game that I hear is phenomenal in that mode. I didn't play it like that, but if you are wanting to play a game with your significant other or with your homeboys, if you got a little brother or something, and you want to throw him the unofficial controller, shout out to the unofficial controller podcast, by the way, you know, throw that controller over to him and go play this game in co-op mode as well. With all that said, though, we talked about Absalom, then we covered Avatar, the legend of and the Legend of Aang and the Legend of Korra coming back in a big epic way with a new fighting game. I'm excited. I'm normally not a fighting game person, but the IP gets me excited enough to want to try it out. It's sort of like with Injustice: Gods Among Us, that I'm not a fighting game person, but I like the DC lore and the DC IP so much that it forced me to go try that game out. So, and that series out. So yeah, I'm excited about Avatar coming back with a big new fighting game. Claire Obscure, we talked about that with the new milestone for them. Shout out to Sandfall Interactive, and like hitting 5 million copies. That's amazing. And then we talked about Pokemon Legends CA, the performance issues, the review roundup. Yeah, this shit was a meaty episode. Yeah, and we did our, like games you should be looking out for this week, the new releases this week. So, our Indie Radar segment of the show. So, yeah, we talked about a lot. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's show, do me a favor, do your boy a solid. Hit subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a friend, a buddy, a coworker, your baby mama's baby mama drama, and all that, and everyone in between. Anyone who likes solo gaming, this podcast is for them. Share it with them. And, it means the world to me. So if you want to make me smile, go ahead and share the podcast there. Hit me up with a like, subscribe, and a nice comment. Tell me what you like about the show. Anyways, you can find the show notes, the links, and my written reviews of all the video games in between at thesingleplayerexperience.com. Follow your boy on all the socials, the Twitter, the X, the Threads, all that kind of stuff. And thank you so much for listening to the episode. Y'all are what makes me go. I love doing this. I love hearing the feedback. I love, seeing the positive responses. I love podcasting with y'all. So y'all make the journey worth it. Anyways, I've been Sebastion Mauldin, reminding you single player games doesn't mean single minded. Nah, I don't like that. We're going to stick with the tried and true outro. I'm Sebastion Mauldin. This has been the Single Player Experience. And remember, the best experience is that single player experience. Peace out, everybody.